Millions of people are wearing Adidas right now. Millions more are wearing Puma. But behind these two massive global brands is a deeply guarded secret. They are the direct result of a family fistfight. Back in 1920, Adolf and Rudolf Dassler were just two brothers working out of their mother's laundry room in a tiny Bavarian town. Adolf, who went by Adi, and his older brother Rudolf spent their days hand-stitching leather athletic shoes by candlelight. Their first massive breakthrough came at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Adi personally drove to the Olympic Village and convinced American sprinter Jesse Owens to race in their custom track spikes. Owens won 4 gold medals in front of a global audience. That incredible run put the Dassler brothers on the map. They had the manufacturing and the talent required to scale their business globally, which makes it tragic that within a decade, they would tear that partnership to shreds. During World War II, the brothers' factory was forced to making military boots and weapons components. The extreme stress of the war, combined with deep ideological disagreements, fractured their relationship. Intense paranoia set in. When Allied forces arrested Rudolf after the war, he was absolutely convinced his own brother had sold him out to take control of the business. By 1948, the rift was permanent. Rudolf packed his bags, crossed the river that divided their town, and started his own company, Puma. Adi kept the original factory and named his new venture Adidas. The feud didn't stay inside the family. Herzogenaurach had a population of barely 3,000 people, and nearly all of them worked for one of the two brothers. Adidas employees refused to marry Puma employees. They drank at different pubs and bought their groceries from entirely different markets. The local segregation became so intense that the village earned a unique nickname. Citizens literally checked each other's footwear before deciding whether to even say hello, turning Herzogenaurach into the town of bent necks. What started as a bitter argument between two brothers had carved a physical, geographical battleground into the map of Germany. The lines were drawn for a 50-year corporate war. Adi's initial strategy to defeat Puma was to out-engineer them. He focused his factory entirely on creating highly specialized proprietary athletic technology that his brother couldn't easily copy. His major strike landed during the 1954 FIFA World Cup. Knowing the pitches in Switzerland would be soaked with rain, Adi designed a specific football boot for the West German national team. It featured screw-end studs that gripped the mud far better than standard cleats. The grip advantage helped West Germany pull off a massive upset against heavily favored Hungary in a game remembered as the Miracle of Bern. Almost instantly, Adidas became the dominant brand in world football. Adi proved that whoever controlled the actual hardware on the pitch commanded the entire consumer market off of it. Rudolf realized Puma couldn't out-engineer Adidas, so he pivoted to a completely different battlefield: high-visibility media manipulation. He recognized that it didn't matter if you had the best shoe, as long as every camera was pointing at it. At the 1968 Mexico City Olympics, Puma paid American sprinter Tommy Smith to execute a highly specific stunt. Right before his 200-meter race, in front of the world's press corps, Smith deliberately paused to bend down and tie his Puma spikes. Adi fired back rapidly by locking down the most famous athlete alive. He signed boxing icon Muhammad Ali to an exclusive Adidas endorsement deal. But Rudolf had set the ultimate trap for the 1970 World Cup. He secretly paid Pelé, the greatest football player of the era, to pull off a meticulously timed action. Right before kickoff of the final match, Pelé asked the referee for a moment to tie his shoes. The referee paused the game. Every television camera on Earth zoomed in on center field, and the most watched live broadcast in human history suddenly became a global advertisement for Puma King boots. Without realizing it, Adi and Rudolf Dassler's escalating attempts to publicly humiliate each other had accidentally invented the modern multi-billion-dollar athlete endorsement industry. While their brands were surrounded by the deafening roar of Olympic stadiums and World Cup crowds, the personal lives of the two brothers ended in absolute silence. Rudolf passed away in 1974, and Adi 4 years later. They never spoke a single word to each other after 1948. Even in death, they refused to compromise. They were buried at the furthest possible opposite ends of the same town cemetery. Today, the financial scale of their rivalry is immense. Adidas is valued at over $30 billion, while Puma sits around $10 billion. Combined, the two companies are worth $40 billion. Yet despite commanding a global empire, their headquarters remain anchored in Herzogenaurach. They are still staring each other down from opposite sides of the exact same river. It wasn't until 2009, 60 years after the original split, that the workers of both companies finally crossed that river to play a symbolic mixed-team football match. It was a retroactive gesture of peace for a town deeply exhausted by the rivalry. Adi and Rudi Dassler lived their final decades as tragic prisoners of their own hatred. But their competition established the model of high-tech gear and celebrity endorsements that dictates how every major sports brand competes for our attention today.